Welcome everybody to the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce BusinessWorks for June. It's Restart Shopping Safe at the Lake. From Mooresville to Huntersville, what our retailers are doing to make your shopping experience safe and pleasant. I'm Bill Russell, President of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, and today we have Dr. Lexi Lain for Summit Vitality in Davidson, Jennifer Harrison, Flair Trade in Cornelius, Melinda Humphries, Walls of Books in Cornelius, John Foster, Foster's Frame in Huntersville, Brent Belch, CPR Cell Phone Repair in Huntersville, Connye Cross, Uncommon Sense in Huntersville, Charlotte Paris, Bliss by the Lake, and Dale Gilmore, who is the Vice Chair of Business Growth and Development of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to all of our speakers today, and we're really excited to have you. Dr. Lexi Lain, let's go with you and share, if you can. We went through the whole stay at home where all of our businesses except essential businesses were shut down. What did you do at Summit Vitality to communicate with your customers, your clients, certainly during that stay at home portion?
Sure. Yeah. So so first of all, thank you, Bill, for having me on. So in the beginning, we basically shifted everything to telehealth or telemedicine very quickly. So we offered, there's Zoom Care, our electronic charting platforms like Charm had Charm Care, to where we were having HIPAA compliant ways of seeing patients. And then the other thing that I also did was I had an online dispensary. I've always had that, but it really did make sure that people were being able to get what they needed, but they could, like Amazon, they could just order it online and get it shipped. And then if we were doing telehealth, I would send out Square invoices, and I would be communicating through Facebook Live and blogging, sending out emails. I would get on Instagram and do like quick videos. Hey, we're still up and running. I did see myself as an essential business. And so if there were things that I stocked on my shelf for immune support, I was the only one to come to my office. My office is in the business center at South Main Square. So there's actually quite a few businesses in the building that I practice in. And pretty much, I would say 98% of the businesses all shut down. No one came to the office. There was probably 3 of us that would come in, and we had set up these giant HEPA 500 air filters that help to keep the air filtering through molds and, bugs and viruses and things that are going through the air. So that has actually been going and running nonstop since like day 1 of shelter in place. We have 2 of them in the building, and they're basically located right where people come in and out. But the building was close to the public, and so really it was just us. And if we had packages coming to our door, we told FedEx on the front lobby's door basically to either contact the business by phone or just leave it at that door, and then we would just be checking that periodically and bringing boxes in. All amenities were, shut down. We didn't use the kitchen, none of the coffee filters and, the little stations that you would have, none of that was being used. And like I said, there were about 3 businesses here, myself and 2 others, and extremely very respectful in terms of distancing. And then if a patient needed to come and pick up a supplement, what I ended up doing was having them, first of all, if they were exposed to COVID or if someone they knew had COVID, they were to send a friend or family member to come and pick up the supplements. They actually had to stay in the parking lot and text me. And then when I would come out, I would wear the mask and the gloves, and I would actually have everything in a bag already for them. So there was really no major exchange happening in terms of germs and things like that. We really respected the distance there. If they weren't exposed, then they could come themselves, but they still had to stay in the parking lot. So I think that sums up essentially what we did in that first, shelter in place. And then for me, I always wore the mask to the grocery store just because I knew, if I'm going to be coming into my office, I still needed to be respectful about what I might be exposed to out in the community. So I really did take precautions in my personal life, being mindful that I was coming in.
As a healthcare professional yourself, do you feel safe going out and doing some of the shopping that you have to do on your own, and whether it's in Davidson or any other community?
100%. Absolutely. Yes. We know that, you know, the healthier you are, you know, you're more than likely going to be just fine. So, I mean, I take care of myself really well. And I'm not around high risk people in my personal life. If you're a high risk patient, I actually am still requiring that you stay at home. But yeah, no, I totally feel safe. We are not sterile beings, Bill. we need bugs, you know, eat a little bit of dirt.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel safe.
Anything else that you're doing or your complex is doing right there in Davidson to make sure that your clients and their customers are safe?
And are you referencing with phase 2 now that we are
with phase 2, yes.
Yep. Okay. So, so what I'm doing and what I've noticed, we have some counselors down the hall. We're scheduling people out further apart so that no one is sitting in the reception area. So if they do want to come in, I will wear a mask with them. My patients have been awesome. They wear their masks too. We just kind of share in this loveliness. But we make sure that no one is having to sit out in the waiting area. So no one's been out there. And then secondly is that we've got the kitchen closed. We've got those HEPA filters running all the time. And let me see if so I'm actually diffusing essential oils in my office. I'm taking that extra measure of getting some antimicrobials in the air. And then also I know people are using Lysol as well. They're, you know, wiping before and after customers come in. And then what else can I say to that? We do have a conference room, and so if we have to meet someone and you don't want to meet in your office space, we can definitely spread that out to where you're beyond 6 feet. I've got to where in my office where you can have 6 feet distance between me and the person, and then I also hold the door for everyone so that they're not touching anything. And then for payment, I'm still actually doing where it's a square invoice electronically, so I'm not having to have them physically get out the card and swipe and all of that stuff. So I'm trying to really minimize how much contact there is. But I will say this, for me as a provider, I am still watching vital signs and doing the things that I need to be doing to check for COVID. But it's like I said, if you suspect COVID or anything like that, I do still do telehealth. So
and Lexi, explain what you do. I didn't really talk about your service. Tell what type of service you provide.
Yeah, so I'm a naturopathic doctor. So I provide a non-pharmaceutical approach to medicine. I work alongside primary care doctors, but I am kind of like a primary care physician in that sense. So seeing patients one-to-one for prevention mainly.
And explain how people can contact you.
Yes, so they can contact me through my website at summitvitality.com. I am on Facebook. I've had people contact me there too, or they can just call 704-765-0887.
Lexi, we appreciate you joining us. I know you have a patient you're going to be seeing, so we'll let you drop off and go to Jennifer Harrison. Thank you very much, Lexi, for being with us. Yep. And I'm excited to have Jennifer on here. Jennifer's like a candy store to me. I can go down to walls of books and just see some of the books they've got. Not only used books, but new books as well. But I could just sit there and peruse the titles and just sit back there and just go through it. So Jennifer, tell me, while we were all staying at home, the bookstore obviously was not considered an essential service.
Not bookstore. Consignment store.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped onto walls of books a while ago. Yeah, the consignment store. Yeah, absolutely. Share a little bit about what you guys were doing at Flair Trade as we went through the stay at home.
So I was the first one in my plaza to close. I closed before the governor shut us down. And my staff and I stayed working in the store for that week.
Coffee?
And then what we ended up doing is we paid our full-time staff till the end of March. At the end of March, we furloughed all of our staff. And then I continued to work in the store. As a business owner, I was allowed in my store. We do have an online presence. Our website, we have a website, flairtradeconsign.com, which has over about 2,700 pieces. And at any given time, we have about 10,000 pieces in our store. So a small piece of our store is online, but we continued. We've always done Facebook Lives. to give everybody a little spot of what we have in the store. My husband called it a PSA announcement. It was more just, oh, this is cute. This is what we have in the store. So what I went to was selling on Facebook. So I did multiple shows in a day to reach our audience. We have an app that I was able to send notifications to customers to let them know what time we were going live. And essentially, that's how I kept my business alive and in people's faces for the month of April. So I was the only one in the store selling and sending things to people and things like that. So we continue to do that. My husband and I put more things on the website. I did live shows from my house just to connect with my customers, just to check in on my customers. It was just like Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, just to check in, make sure everybody was doing okay. You got to keep yourself in people's faces during that time. And we really couldn't, nobody could come to our store. So you had to bring the store to them. So that's basically what I did. And then to be able to stay in contact with my staff, because that was important to me as well. I had a standing FaceTime appointment with my full-time staff every Friday afternoon. We did cocktail hour together. And then I called each one of my staff members at least once a week, just to check in to see how they were all doing. And we always sent out emails to keep our customers up to date. And then towards the end, when we thought we were going to be able to open, I started to reach out to some consigners that I knew had product for us. So we had some fresh goods when we opened up.
Jennifer, I'm one of the ones on Facebook. I would see your Facebook Live where you were going from garment to garment and showing various things. And you're right, you appeared to be the only one in the store, but those were very good. So I enjoyed watching.
Appreciate that.
And I'll also tell you, I was one of the ones that was quite apprehensive like 3 years ago, going to a consignment store and wearing somebody else's. I grew up in a family where my mother said, okay, you're going to wear your cousin's clothes and stuff like that. I hated that. And I said, I'm not going to do that when I'm an adult. And then I went down to your consignment store and there's Brooks Brothers suits and blazers and Connye. And I'm going like, wow, this is the deal. So again, there are some fantastic deals down there at Flair Trade.
There are, and we have a great, so we have two types of customers there. We have consigners who bring us their product and then customers who walk through the front door. So it's two different types of people. And we're fortunate that the area that we live in is able to support that business. I mean, we have consigners from Denver to Mooresville. I have consigners in Florida that mail me things. I have consigners in Virginia that mail me things. So we have a great base to be able to provide that service to people.
Yeah. And now that we're moving it, now that we are in phase 2 and people are out shopping again, tell us what you're doing at Flair Trade to make sure it's a safe environment for your customers to come to.
So I'm requiring all of my staff to wear masks. We all wear masks in the store. We ventured out to find disinfectant like everybody else did during the time. So we were able to order disinfectant spray. We went to the local distillery in Statesville to support a local business for hand sanitizer, as well as plexiglass shields at our register. A lot of our service is interacting with our customer, and we're not able to do as much of that because of the social distancing. So we've improvised a little bit here and there. So we always used to take clothing from our customers to put on the try-on bar for them to be able to use in the fitting room. And we're no longer doing that. We're having them do it themselves. And it's worked out okay. I am allowing people to try things on because we require things to come to our store washed and cleaned. And then we're just telling people when they buy it and purchase it to take it home and wash it. We only have 2 fitting rooms open. I normally have 6. So we're limiting the fitting room space so that my staff is able to disinfect it in between each person using those. So they're wiping the fitting rooms down, spraying the curtains every time somebody uses that. We are asking our customers to wear masks. And most of them do. A lot of them will come in and see you with a mask on, and they're like, oh, do I need to have a mask? And, you know, we tell them it's their choice, but we really encourage it. And they'll go and grab their mask and then bring it into the store. On the consignment piece, we've always prided ourselves on never having to make an appointment at our store to consign. And we are doing that now. My back room where we take consignments is very small, and to keep my staff safe back there, I knew that we couldn't social distance. We could have 6 or 7 consigners in that back room at any given time. So what we did is we went to appointment only, and people can make appointments on our website. And the girls have been really, really good about it. Somebody didn't know that. They're trying to squeeze them in, but consigners come in the back door, they drop their things. We ask that they go back outside. We look through their things, and then they come in and retrieve their no thank yous. So that's worked out really well for us. It's the new normal for us. We're hoping we can go back to some sort of normalcy eventually. But the other thing that I did do too is I did not open my store at 50% capacity. I could have up to 90 people in my store at 50% capacity, and we were not safe doing that. And my customers would not have been safe doing that. So we opened the store at 20% capacity, which is about 34 people. We have not had to, you know, we haven't had more than 34 people in the store at any given time. So, and when we do, we post somebody at the door to count people in and out to monitor that so that we can keep our store at that level.
Remind people where your store is located and what are your hours?
So we are located at the Shops of Fresh Market. I sit in between Steinmart and Icy Wakes. Our store hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 to 6, Friday, 10 to 7, Saturday, 10 to 6, and Sunday, 12 to 5. But you can always shop our website, FlairTradeConsign.com.
Thank you, Jennifer. We're going to go over to Melinda now. And Melinda, that was what I was talking about a while ago with the walls of books. and I got mixed up a little bit. But again, love your store, love coming in there, browsing the titles that you have. And I'm amazed sometimes that books which have been new books introduced just a few weeks often appear in your shop as a used book. But share a little bit about once we were shut down, how did you get the message out and keep your loyal customer base together? How did you communicate with your customers?
Mostly through social media. I encouraged them to contact any book that they wanted. I would either mail to them or I have tables sitting outside of my store. Mm-hmm. So if they wanted to pick them up, we would arrange a time and I would bag them up, put them on the table. I didn't let them sit there very long, but that way they could come up, get them without any kind of contact other than obviously me putting them in the bag. But I would try to limit the contact as much as possible and keep the inventory available as widely as we could. So I did a couple of posts on social media with book lists, suggestions, encouraging. I ran a gift card special so that people would be able to come in after we reopened now, I guess, and use those. So it was okay. There were quite a few customers who really took advantage, and I so appreciate the support of the community for keeping us going while we were closed for 6 weeks.
The CDC had originally come out and talked about how long the virus may be on various surfaces. Mm-hmm. And then they came back and revised that and said that they didn't think the viruses was remaining on there. What's the latest with it? Is the virus supposed to live on, say, books for any? No,
I don't know. No, I don't think it is. Luckily for us, because it's a used bookstore, I order disinfectant wipes in bulk from the very beginning. I mean, that's just part of the used books. Mm-hmm. Although I'm very lucky, like Jennifer, to have to live in a community and have people that bring in very new up-to-date current things. But we also get older things. You know, we all have them. We've packed away books and they've sat in our garage or our attic or our trunk of our car for a few months, and so they may not be the cleanest, you know, at their cleanest. So I've always wiped down all the books when they come in. Just
so you were taking precautions.
For obvious. I mean, I've done that since we opened the store. That just seems it just seems reasonable. So that part, and we're just a little more diligent, I guess. So, and then everything else we wipe down all the time. But I didn't have that panic buy of disinfectant wipes, because that's a standard in there. But I don't think books hold. I know books do not hold the virus any longer than anything else.
I was walking into Prosciutto's just a couple of days ago, and I saw folks coming out of your store. Are you seeing some of the traffic coming back?
Yeah, it's starting to come back. People are starting to realize that we've reopened. We reopened with phase 1, so we've been open for 2 weeks. I guess a little more than 2 weeks, but and it's gradually increasing. So, but I get phone calls every day wondering if we're open yet. So I have reduced the hours a little bit. We're open 11 to 5 Monday through Saturday instead of 10 to 6 right now, just to try to reduce some of the anxiety, I guess, in people's minds. There's only one person working in the store at any given time, which is typically me. And so we're trying very hard to reduce anything that you might be worried about.
Now, you used to have a little kitty down there. Is the kitty still in the store?
She's there. She's not so little.
and we were talking, I think, yesterday about the public library, and I went down there yesterday. I was able to drop off books, so they're open now that you can. You weren't able before to return books to the boxes outside. Now you can return books. You can actually public library request titles, and they have them for you. So that's the question about Charlotte Mecklenburg Public Library. Any other thing that you're doing now to make sure it's a safe environment for your customers?
I am, in addition to cleaning the books all the time, I'm cleaning, door handles and countertops and bathrooms and everything very diligently. Right after we were closed, I had M&R Cleaning come in, and they did a big sanitizing cleaning job so that everything was clean, and I was the only person that would come in the store for an hour or so and arrange books to be shipped out and that sort of thing. But and they come periodically and clean on top of what we do a few times a day. So
and remind everybody where Walls of Books is located.
We're in Shops on the Green, right between Prosciutto's and Ludmilla's Performing Arts.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. And we're going to move over, and we're going to go one town over and go over to John Foster's Frame. And John and I were talking just last week, and you were having one of your best quarters in a long, long time. January was booming. I think you had some good stuff in February, and all of a sudden we get a pandemic. Tell me, John, how did you stay in touch with your customers during the late February, March, and April going into May?
Bill, staying in front of our customers, I guess, has been a long process. What we are going through at this time, really, when I sit back and think about it, started a long time ago. This coming October will be 20 years that we have been in business. The first shock that we experienced as a small business and everything has happened back in at 9/11. We had been open 11 months at the time of 9/11. Again, our second shop was the Great Recession of 08 through 10. From that time on, there were small little things, Bill, that we started doing to try to start streamlining our business and everything else, to start preparing for whatever happened out there. And another thing, Bill, over the years, and I think you can attest to this, one of our really key to success has been relationships that we try to develop with every customer that come into our store. And I think that has carried on during the time period that we was closed, and even today. Bill, we were open, I guess, probably 3 weeks probably in May, and we probably came within probably 15% of what our numbers were during the first quarter, which our first quarter that we were having this year was probably the first quarter in the history of our business. And I attribute that to, again, a good product, good service, and relationships that we have with customers. During this time period, the first thing we did when we closed, we transfer our numbers, telephone numbers from the store to my cell phone, which is something we do from time to time when we're traveling and we don't have someone covering the store. And so customers able to communicate with us via telephone, through our website, or through social media. Social media for the last 4 years, maybe 5 years, but definitely for the last 4 years, has been something that we have really made an effort to continue to develop. And our success that we are having at this time over the last 4 years, I would attribute a large percent of it the various forms of social media. And there are some things on social media that we still need to do better. I say we still leaving some money on the table. You know, we are heavily on Facebook during the time that we were closed. Our post various pictures. We work with about 10 or 12 different local and regional artists. And from time to time, we have collectors that ask us to sell pieces that they are trying to move in order to buy other pieces. And we post many pieces on social media, giving the artist exposure, giving the art exposure. In fact, about it, we have a piece that we're getting ready to ship out to Texas that we sold, that I had posted during the time period that we were closed. Our website.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Our site is not a commercial website, e-commerce site, but people can contact us on anything we have on our website, and we can get them the information and send it to them.
John, you mentioned relationships, and when I think of people being engaged in the community, I think of John Foster. One of the things that you do, you have always worked down at the Mission in Charlotte, taking care of those that needed a helping hand. During this pandemic, have you still been able to do the community outreach that you've been doing in Charlotte all these years?
Bill, probably have not done as much, no different than so many people. Many of the agencies are concerned about who's in facilities, and then I guess, Bill, to some degree, we were probably about as busy as I want to be. Our daughter came home from Texas to spend about 6 weeks with us, and it's something that she talked about, because I guess over the years, she kind of took on some of our traits just for us serving and giving back. But be truthful with it, I have not worked at the shelters and other facilities where I work to give back as much as I have pre-COVID-19.
Remind everybody where Foster's Frame is located.
Bill, we're located right in the heart of downtown Huntersville, right behind Town Hall, 102 North Old Statesville Road, or across from Cashin. We have a website, fostersframeandartgallery.com. And again, like I said, we've been in business 20 years come this October. But our success today and going forward. And I'll tell anyone, build relationships with customers. You know, with that customer, you can have a great product, but if you don't have a relationship with customers, you got a problem.
Well, I've got a lot of pieces in my house, in my office, framed by Foster's Frame, and I still have another one I need to bring down to you. So I need to get some help because I got another piece that I need you to frame.
Come on down.
Let's move over to Brent Belch. But Brent, you're one of the businesses that actually was an essential, however, you also have a lot of retail items for sale. And we're going to go ahead and get you unmuted. And if you could share a little bit about what did you do to make sure it was a safe environment? Because sometimes we forget this little item here can still have a lot of germs even before a pandemic. What did you do even during the stay at home when it was when people were coming to your shop to make it secure?
Thank you, Bill. Excuse me, I had a little bit of a cold, but we were, as a curse and a blessing, to be declared essential. Being declared essential didn't give us a lot of flexibility to work with our landlords as much as we would have been had we had to officially close. So what we did, we did cut back hours dramatically in the beginning, and we realized that people were now more than ever dependent on their technology. So we tried to start a process of dealing by appointment only and offering curbside pickup and delivery. Customers could come by. We have 8 stores. Could come by any of our 8 stores, drop something off. We'd come out, pick it up. We requested that they sanitize it before they bring it to us. They would bring it to us. We would re-sanitize it before we even started working on it. And then after post repair, we would sanitize it again. And this was all during phase 1. We implemented every customer that came to the store, initially, we only allowed 1 in the store at the time. Masks were required. Customers had to wear them. We had to wear them. We had a barrier space between the customer that kept the customer 6 feet away from any of our technology, any of our check-in procedures. We subsequently went to the plexiglass. We cut off all paper. We didn't do anything but paper. They got email receipts. We used Square, which is a phenomenal small business payment processing solution, by the way. We were able to, customers were very, very respectful. And fortunately and unfortunately, we get a lot of repeat customers, particularly teenagers and kids that seem to drop their iPads, computers, cell phones, etc. But they were even more dependent on it now. We saw a little bit of shift of business away from cell phones to iPads and tablets. Now kids that were using their iPad occasionally and they may have broken it or broken the screen, it now became a primary source of learning. So we saw a different shift in some of our product mix in the stores. Business fell off during the phase 1, probably a little north of 50%. It quickly rebounded once schools, once they started canceling all of the on-site schools. We spent significant effort on social media as well, Facebook ads. We had never really advertised on Facebook. We have always had a big presence on Facebook, but we actually started doing Facebook ads, and that helped a lot. It got us, our reach went from, a typical Facebook post may get a reach of a couple hundred people. Now it went to thousands. So that helped. We are a part of a franchise. So the franchise helps support us, although we're locally owned. They help support us with their website. We all have our individual websites. And we had to put a lot of signage out. The shopping centers were okay with us saying CPR cell phone repair is open. We're in North Cross Shopping Center, or one of the stores is, the Huntersville store is. We were able to put signage out. We got every other phone call was, are you open? Are you open? So we reduced hours. But when we entered phase 2, we shifted pretty quickly, and now we're allowing up to 3 people in the store. We're not enforcing the customer wearing a mask, but ironically, most of them do wear masks. We are still wearing masks up front. We've told the technicians that have been working on these devices, they've been close quarters for months now. And we would prefer you wear your mask, but you don't have to. We focused as much on employee safety as we did on customer safety. Employees, if an employee came in the store with a cold like I've got, we'd send them home. You know, hey, I know you just got a cold. Go home, we'll pay you. We'll keep paying you. But we can't have the perception, because perception becomes reality, that you might be sick and you're working on my device. The comment was made about the germs on these devices. They are extremely loaded with germs. You can imagine. They're at your face, they're at your nose, they're at your mouth. Regardless of whether it's COVID-19, it's a cesspool for germs. So we've always been diligent about cleaning, sanitizing devices, even in the past. We just really stepped up the pace during this. Our business is coming back, thanks to loyal customers in the Lake Norman area. We have a store up in Mooresville as well. May will be up. I haven't seen the final numbers, but my guess is we'll be up about 15% month over month from May of last year. So customers are coming back. The biggest issue we had was, in the past, we can repair your screen in 20 minutes. Well, that got stretched out to hours. Number one, we didn't have the staff.
Right.
Number two, we had all these sanitizing procedures that were over the top. So we were spending more and more time with the devices. Our suppliers were struggling getting parts to us. So it was it was pretty tough, but I'll tell you, the Lake Norman area is probably one of our, again, we got 8 stores across the state, but Lake Norman has always been a big supporter of our products. I see Connye on there. Every time we've moved from Cornelius down to the coast, but every time we go back to Cornelius, she hits straight for Uncommon Sense. And packages later, I'm like, Cindy, quit spending so much money in there. You probably would know Cindy if you saw her, Connye.
It's a great place. Hey, share the locations you have that support Lake Norman.
Mooresville, Huntersville, and University City on W.T. Harris Boulevard, and are the 3 locations. Yeah.
And your location in Huntersville and Mooresville are located specifically where?
We're on Mooresville River Road in Mooresville at exit 36, next to the food line. In Huntersville, we're in North Cross Shopping Center next to Moe's. Over by Staples, in that shopping center.
Well, Brent, I got to tell you, you're a lifesaver. I shared this story with you, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I slammed my iPhone in my trunk, looked at it. It looked like the thing had gone all the way through it. I'm going like, okay. So I went to Verizon, saw the line in Verizon to get it, because I was just going to get a new phone. This is a shot. This can't be repaired. And saw the line and waited for a little while and said, So I went over to CPR and they said, yeah, we think we can fix this. And sure enough, I worked like a charm for another year before I finally broke down and got a new iPhone. But I've now had 2 iPhones repaired, and a countless number of friends and associates, when they have problems dropping their phone, putting it in water or whatever, I say, take it down to CPR.
Well, we appreciate the business. One additional thing that did impact our business negatively was accessory sales. we sell a lot of cases and chargers and that sort of thing. And we had to insist during phase 1 that the customers could not touch any of the accessories. So if people get a case for the phone, they don't want to touch it. So it did, and our accessory sales probably dropped off 80%. We now are still, anytime a customer touches cases or any of the things we sell in the store, we immediately sanitize it. We go through gallons a week of sanitizer, because every single device, customer, every surface has to be sanitized because of the nature of the devices that we're working with.
Well, and you mentioned Connye, my favorite Florida Gator. She gives me heck because
Yeah.
I had her football coach for a while at South Carolina. We did quite well, but now Florida is kind of running over South Carolina again. Connye, tell us how you stayed in touch with your customers before we got back into business, and then now what you're doing. And you shared a whole bunch of things you guys were doing.
We did, and good luck to all the other ones that's been on here this morning. It has been a testy situation and stuff, but it seems we're so strong, and it seems so much we've came together as a group too. But way I started with, first of all, had to shut down, and then I had a company called Premier Choice Misting Company come in and spray the entire store, the ceilings, every item and everything, so that I could come in and work in the shop and clean and throw out. And for a period of time, that's what I did. Then I have a staff member who was young, and we got busy starting with a website. Well, first of all, we jumped onto Facebook and got going with Facebook, Instagram, and the emails. And then we started on our online store. But on the things, we would put our phone numbers on there. And also, like Brent said, our community here, I was allowed to put a sign out there, curbside service and things with our phone number and everything. And on those situations, we would have where you could call and set up an appointment, say 1 o'clock. We would take and Facebook you through the store and go through and show you. You would be needing a birthday gift, a college graduation, a Mother's Day, or whatever gift. And then we would give our ideas, which our customers trust us, to give them the best of the best. And so we would go around and show them. They would say yes, no, and then we would pick it up. We would wipe it off. We'd have it. All they did, they would pull up beside our store. We would pay over the phone, over the computer here at the store with the charges. We'd take it out to the car. We would put it on the hood of their car. They would step out, or we would set it on the sidewalk. We went out with a sanitation rag holding the bag, and they would take it and they would go. Very, very, very appreciative of that and stuff. And then also we got online and started playing bingo. That was huge. We would send out the cards, and the way we did our cards, and it's a great thing for other stores to do too. I highly recommend it. We would put our lines on there like a ugly South Carolina flag. We would put like earrings. We would put coasters, puzzles, whatever. And what you'd do, you'd go on, you'd zoom in with us, and that card, you would have that card. We'd send you a card, and we would call out that item, and you would hit it. And if you got a cross or 4 squares or whatever, you won a gift certificate to come shop and buy some Florida Gator stuff. But anyway, we did the bingo. Also, a phenomenal thing that we did, and I highly do this, recommend this, and our kids now are coming in and thanking us, and they still, but we're carrying it on Mondays and Fridays. We read stories. Actually, they're books out of our place, but at the same time, we read them stories, and we also had kids activities that they could make soap, rock collection, Harry Potter things, making airplanes. And so we would go on, and the kids would come on, and what they're coming on, that we just did it again yesterday, and they watch that and they come in. So now they're coming in and, you know, wondering what's going to be the story this week or whatever like that. So we kind of did that. And like I say, we got busy with our website and got going with that. And that was a very big success, has been a very big success. And it is growing each day as we go through things. But that's kind of it, Bill. Not it, but then we've got the store now that we're moving on. We still do the curb service, especially if they have children in the car or things like that. We do require a mask in our store. We do require a mask in our store, and it's just, I just want to respect any and everybody. I know, and like I tell the people that don't, we will be glad to bring anything outside to you. We will be glad to go to and bring it out to your car. If you do not choose or you do not like the mask idea. But for the safety of our customers and for the public, we do require that. And our regular hours are 9 to 7, and then on Sundays we're 11 to 5. But we also have, I want to go through mask. We carry about 12 different masks we have in our store. We have the gloves, if you need gloves. We have the hand sanitation as we spray our customers when they come in the door. We also, if they choose to, Bill, I won't get you in the face. And then as our customers come to the counter with our plexiglass up in front, we take their card with a Clorox thing. We take the card from them and then we insert it into the machine. We do not have them sign it. We have gotten permission with our credit card company to do kind of like a phone thing. We hand it back to them. We have zero contact with our customers. And so many of them appreciate that and everything with us. Yeah. But we do have lots of masks. We have the shield also, if you want the shield. And a great thing that we have, as you see around my neck maybe, this is a necklace with a roll of toilet paper on it.
Oh my, oh my.
These are earrings in my ears with a roll of toilet paper. We do have those, and people have gone bonkers over them. They're the cutest little things. They're just in a catch with things.
Well,
and stuff.
We're going to move over to Charlotte, but before we do, Common Sense is located in Norcross Shopping Center. We got Father's Day coming up, and there's no perfect gift than tailgating supplies, and Connye has it. So again, if you're looking for your Carolina Panthers or your Gamecock football gear or the other
Florida Gator,
you can go by Connye's. Let's move over to Charlotte and move up the highway a little bit to Mooresville and talk about Bliss by the Lake. So can you share a little bit about how you maintained your communication with your employees when everybody was staying home, and now what you're doing in phase 2?
Well, I have to start with, I'm a Clemson girl.
Oh gosh.
So go Tigers. All right, so I had to start with that. Well, we're a smaller business, and we had a challenge to begin with because we were a franchise, and then we decided to go individual. That happened in November, and we had to start over. We went from like 5,000 Facebook people to nothing. So that's been a challenge. And then when this came, the challenge is even more. I still have customers come in that said, oh, I thought you were closed. So, you know, I had a challenge to begin with. But we're not a high traffic store. And so that has made a little bit of a difference in how we're doing things now. But how we stayed relevant was, well, let me back up a little bit. I was the first boutique in Mooresville to close, and that was a very hard decision. But I kept in contact with a lot of other boutique owners and small business owners, and we kind of were doing things kind of the same way. And the way we kept in business basically was shipping curbside, and we actually did some delivery. But because we have a lot of customers that aren't local. And we have been selling off Facebook for a long, long time. And we just ramped that up. We did more lives. We did more Facebook lives. We bought a ring light so I could do them by myself because I was the only one here. So we did that. We did more posts, and then I decided to make it more fun. So kind of like you guys, some of you have mentioned, I think Connye, we did some fun things like we started with a getting to know you contest, and every contest, if you posted something or commented, you would get into a drawing for a certificate, which would get them back in when we open. And the first one was to take a photo and post it to prove you got out of your pajamas and put on makeup and actually were, trying to have some semblance of normalcy. And that was a big success. And then after that, we did favorite actor, favorite actress, favorite book, favorite music, movie, things like that. And that kept a lot of people involved. We also kind of shared doing that with some other small businesses. So that was the first thing. And then I did a lot of FaceTime personal shopping. I mean, if somebody wanted to do it at 9 o'clock, we would FaceTime or whatever, show them, we would pull their sizes because it was customers we already had, and show them what we had. That was another really good thing. And we're continuing doing that if somebody wants to do it. We sent pictures to people that wanted to see what we had. We had online sales, just, anything to keep our name out there. And during that time, we did probably 15% of what we normally did. And now once we've opened, we've ramped back up a little bit quicker than I thought we would. I took a lot of time while we were closed to plan different things I wanted to do when we open, because it is going to be different. We did a lot of girls' nights. We're going to have to change how we do that because we would have a lot of people here. I don't know when we'll ever be able to do that again. So I think I've been very proud, that, and pleased that we were able to stay as relevant as we did. And it's all about relationships in small business. And I have the phone numbers, cell phones of a lot of my customers, so I stayed in touch that way. And, it worked. And as far,
Remind folks where the boutique is located.
Oh, okay. It is in Mooresville, in Mooresville Commons Way. It is beside New York Bagel, where Famous Toastery is, and Lowe's Foods is right there. So really, please come see us. But what we're doing now is, as I said, we're not, we don't have the kind of people that like Flair has. So having too many people in here at one time has not really been an issue. And we have hand sanitizer at the front and at checkout. We have masks, the N95 and the little blue ones, and gloves if somebody wants them. But now, different from you guys, I would say there's only been 3 people since I've been open that come in with masks. Nobody of mine are wearing masks. They do the sanitizer, and at the same time, we offer everybody, if you want us to wear a mask, we will. And we have some. Most of them are like, I'm over it. But we're still very careful. We wipe everything down all the time. When people try clothes on, we leave them there for 24 hours. And at first, we were steaming then all the clothes before we put them back out. When we would get shipments in, we would let them sit for 24 hours. Now we're not doing that anymore, but we do wear gloves when we open them. That's basically what we're doing.
We appreciate you sharing, Charlotte, and actually appreciate all of our speakers today. And I got Dale Gilmore on the line. As I mentioned before, Dale has been extremely busy helping businesses with the PPP. He's our chair of business growth for the Chamber of Commerce. Dale, you want to share a little bit about what's available for the small businesses still looking for assistance?
Yeah, there's with the PPP, just sort of a couple quick little updates, and then I'll offer some other ideas too. If you guys have been paying attention, the SBA released the forms for the forgiveness, and if you've gotten the PPP, hopefully everybody has. If you haven't, banks are still accepting applications. So there's some that are still out there accepting applications. I'm hearing cabbage is a really fast way to get it if you haven't done it. So anyhow, but the forms came out and offered this alternative method, which would allow you to kind of calculate your 8-week period for forgiveness based on the next payroll run after the date you receive the money, which allows you to plan better for your 8 weeks. And so most people are taking advantage of that option, which is favorable to us, most of us. Not everybody it's favorable, probably unique circumstances. Everybody's circumstance is different. The other thing that's happened is the House has passed a bill last week, and the Senate's bill is very different, as you know, no shocker there, but the Senate bill is very different. That's not been passed yet. They're going to look at the House bill, the Senate bill, and figure it out. But both bills have favorable language for generally for most all small businesses. So there may be more favorable language that allow us an extension of time beyond the 8 weeks, 16 weeks or 24 weeks, or the House bill had 24 weeks in it, and a longer period of time to deploy the cash to be fully forgiven. Both bills, Senate and House, seem to be intent on trying to get these loans fully forgiven for folks to spend the money on the right things, which are payroll, specific generally. The other thing to know is there are COVID-19 funding mechanisms and grants and response opportunities. North Carolina has their own version of funding. Everybody has been thinking about PPP, or the Economic Injury Disaster Relief Program, but the state of North Carolina has a program as well. I want to say the people running it are Mountain BusinessWorks. I can't remember exactly the organization. So there's other sources out there. Mecklenburg County has a small fund that they're deploying funds for programs as well. So there's not, it may be, though some of those ones will probably be smaller amounts, but every little bit counts. So, I would also say if, the SBA loans, sort of in the normal environment, if you had SBA loans, the SBA's giving you some flexibility of how you pay those back, and actually supposed to be paying us. There's a program that allows you that they're going to pay 6 months of your payments for you. Interestingly, I'm in the M&A business, so as you think about that, some people, if they bought a new business, they're also going to get 6 months of free payments on loans. So, as a lot of people are thinking differently about how to deal with this virus and its effect and the pandemic effect on our businesses. Sometimes maybe doubling down on growth is an option. Maybe not the best option for everyone, but is an option for people to think about. So there's a lot out there, and encourage you guys to explore and apply for. Don't worry about people saying no. I say apply for everything until you exhaust all your efforts if you think it applies to your business.
Well, we're up against the hour. I want to thank everybody for being a part of the program today. And the biggest thing is hopefully we can get people to come back out and shop the lake. We've got great services from Huntersville to Mooresville. I want to share with you one last thing. The Chamber of Commerce has on the website at Lain Norman Chamber a smart restart guide for businesses from A to Z about how to restart your business, the safety procedures, the sanitation, the disinfecting that you can be doing. All of that is located in our smart restart guide on lakenormanchamber.org. And again, you can find that on our website. Thank you to everyone, and thank you for what you're doing. And thank you to the people watching for supporting our local business.